Hello and welcome to Homeschool Together. Thanks so much for joining us. If you have a chance, hit the subscribe button below and like this darn video because we work hard on these.
We try. We're getting caught up here on our videos after having a bout of the flu. Yep. So we hope you're all feeling well out there. Absolutely. As it ravages the country.
This week we were in the dinosaurs. We had made it.
We finally did.
Our kids
were very excited.
How many weeks have we been using the dinosaur spine books but not actually covering the dinosaurs?
Well, and I feel like this is what we sold them on, right? Yeah. Hey, we didn't say to our kids, we're going to study prehistory. We said, we're going to study dinosaurs. So eventually we had to get to the dinosaurs.
We got to get to the dinosaurs.
And we talked last week when we were looking at the the Carboniferous and Permian periods, where we finally got into some reptiles that are kind of dinosaur-like.
Yep.
But this is the first week we actually got to do dinosaurs. So
Absolutely.
This is the week that we did a full week of Blossom and Root and a full week of Build Your Library. Blossom and Root basically has 4 weeks on dinosaurs. Yep. So they have a first overview week, and then there's a
Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous.
Yeah, there you go. Whereas Build Your Library just has 1 week. It's all in one. So we decided that we put the Build Your Library week and the Blossom and Root week together. So as you can imagine...
For the overview.
Overview. So there was a lot of books this week. We're just going to talk about a few this week, and we're going to just spread the books through the next 4 videos so that we can... get to all of them in turn. But first, as we want to do on every video, we want to highlight a spine from the curriculum. And today we're going to highlight the Dinosaur Book.
Ooh, wonderful name. Where are they? So creative.
Right. This is a DK Smithsonian. Fabulous. And this is the main spine for Blossom and Root, like the one of ones. If you don't have any others, this is the one to get. And there's 2. There's this one and there's Dinosaur with the exclamation point.
We'll cover that one
Dinosaur.
next.
So we'll do it next week. And you can see the books are different though.
Yeah.
Can you talk about what the focus of this one is? Because I see dinosaur written on a bunch of things and I'm like, how are these different? Right. But there are differences in the books. And so I think it's important to talk about.
It gets down to it as structural. How do they present the information? There's a lot of books that will just talk about like, oh, here's Dinosaur 1, Dinosaur 2, Dinosaur 3.
We have one of those we'll show to you.
Yeah, we'll show it to you. Yeah. But these books, they talk about, here's a class of dinosaurs. So our friends, the Ankylosaurus. My name is Frank. I'm built like a tank. I'm an Ankylosaurus. Those are the story bots. We'll link it in there. Okay. The girls go crazy over that video. The little rat.
Oh yeah, we really like story bots.
Story bots. Anyway, so like they'll talk about ankylosaurs and they'll say, okay, here's a whole class of different animals that existed over a certain period of time, and then they'll get a little bit into the information on dinosaur defense, and so they'll talk about like things that are unique to them, maybe, and then they'll get into like
it's kind of categories.
Yeah. And what's cool about it is that as you move through the different types, they'll talk about herds and packs, and then they'll talk about a few of those types of dinosaurs. A lot more information. It feels like when you're going through this book, you're not only learning about the dinosaurs, but you're also learning about characteristics of the dinosaurs and the way they like kind of group them. Because a lot of times you're like looking at all these dinosaurs and there's like a million of them. And it's like, I don't even know, like that dinosaur was in the Jurassic period, but that one's in the Cretaceous. And you're like, that's 200 million years or 100 million years, right? Like I want to know, like, here's a class of dinosaurs from a certain time, and here's what was unique to them, how they evolved. Again, going back to the evolution thing is why they have the characteristics that they have. It's all evolutionary. It's all evolutionary pressures. I think these books, especially the other ones too, they all have that kind of like thread. And so I think ultimately now that we are 2 weeks in, I think like just pick one because they talk about different stuff but also the same stuff. So
between this one and Dinosaur exclamation point, and we'll look at that one next week, it's also fabulous. I mean, this is the main one and they say that one's kind of secondary. What do you see as the differences between those books? Are they similar enough that you could kind of go either way?
You could go either way. I mean, but they're both beautiful, gorgeous. The other one's a little bit bigger, like size-wise, so maybe if you have some size constraints, but content-wise, they're very similar. It's how it's presented. Now, the other one, like where on earth are dinosaurs, very different. And I would say pick 2 and one. Like you want to get like one from these two and then the other one, because
I think it's nice, we have both this one and Dinosaur Exclamation. They do cover different things. I guess to me it's a matter of how comprehensive do we need to be for this study. And if you had either one of them, I think it's fine. You're getting enough out of them. But if you want to do more, they're different. So there's no harm in having them both. And we do own both of them and we love both of them. But I don't think that if you're on a budget, you could definitely just pick one. You'd get lots of good mileage out of it.
Or even if you're on even more of a budget, if you're like, check one out, I got to return it in 3 weeks, check the other one out.
Oh, that's a good strategy.
That's another way to go as well. Also, both books have a section at the beginning that can be used for the earlier periods as well, like Cambrian, Silurian, and those types of periods. They have some information on there as well that are included in here as leading up to it. Because I think when you tell a story about dinosaurs, it's one of those, like, it's a very challenging thing to say, like, when do you start? Well, do you start from the Permian period, or do you start from the Carboniferous, where maybe some of the proto-lizards, or do you start from like the Devonian, where we have the first, amphibians coming in and becoming reptiles? Like you don't, where do you start your story? And so I think all of them just kind of default from the beginning, right? And so you get the first 30 or 40 pages that talk about that early prehistory period before they jump into the dinosaurs. Right. So I think they both do the same
They're gorgeous books. Our daughters love to just look through these books.
Yeah, you can just see from like just the spine alone was just capturing, but like, just some of the spreads and some of the pictures.
The digital artwork that's been done.
Oh, here's a picture of the fossil, and then here's the rendering of the image. It's so helpful when you're talking about such a complex thing like dinosaurs, to have a wonderful spine book like this on the shelf.
I think this one might be geared a bit better to slightly younger learners.
Yeah, the other one might have been a little bit older.
I think that Dinosaur Exclamation is definitely a bit more detailed.
Again, the way we used this was just a couple pages, like, talk about animal defense. We'll talk about herds and herding animals. So it's like you're just getting little snippets of it, and you're talking about them in broad brushstrokes as the week goes by or the 2 weeks go by. Because this was 2 weeks of both of them, definitely a overview period that maybe is a little bit more than 1 week. I think this one was like a week plus.
Yeah, week and a half, I think we took.
Because it was just so much reading. And you're going to find a lot of books that maybe I just can't get to that, right? Like you couldn't get to that one, you couldn't get to this one, but having a book like this spine here really helped ground what you were doing for that week, and just kind of like focused on, all right, let's start talking about, what makes it a dinosaur, especially since we're starting this as an overview. It's like, well, what does that mean? Well, they're talking about specifically the way the hips were structured and how the reptiles kind of went from the squat creature to having their legs beneath them and allowing them to begin to grow in size. And like, the coolest thing about dinosaurs is they're enormous, right? Like we just can't even fathom something that large. And there were smaller ones too, but the evolutionary changes that allowed them to get to that size are very important. And that's what really defines what the dinosaurs is. And then how within the dinosaurs, they begin to bifurcate into other like sub-dinosaur species, like the sauropods and the pterosaurs and the flying birds and the flying dinosaurs, and then getting into dinosaurs that were in the water, right? As we talked about last week with when the whales walked, where we're starting to see species move in and out of different environments, whether it's water, on the land, or now where we start to see them flying. And so it's just, there's so much. It's three-dimensional now, and it's four-dimensional because we got the time periods as well. I think that was another thing as well. It was difficult to tell, is like, well, why are there the 3 time periods? And that was, you got to start talking about, what makes the Triassic period different from the Jurassic period, which makes it different from the Cretaceous period, and why is the Cretaceous period so long? And all the famous dinosaurs that we know were more recent than they were in the beginning. It was just, it's very interesting. It's just to know that we had this huge scale of dinosaurs. It's just, this is a good book. It's a good book.
Yeah, it's a good book. I think this book is a little bit cheaper than Dinosaur Exclamation Point. I'm glad we own them both. I don't regret that purchase at all.
No regrets.
No. So, if you can get them both, I think that they're both great. If you can only get one, this is the main one that they call for in Blossom and Root, and I think it's a bit better for slightly younger learners.
Another way to go as well is the Eyewitness Book, Dinosaurs.
So this is one of our spines because I have a huge collection of Eyewitness books, and one of the things that I love about this one is while, you know, something like the Dinosaur Book or Dinosaur Exclamation are based on computer renderings, this is based entirely on real fossils. This is all reality, all pictures. It's like a museum in a book. And for us, we don't have we have a small natural history museum here, but I don't have access to the Smithsonian Museum. So this is just wonderful. Our daughter's been looking at these.
A lot more fossil render and less drawings. So if you want a little bit more of that fossil,
that real what we know now. So I think these are great. I just buy these whenever I see them when I thrift.
Always find these at thrift, and I mean most thrifting, we're talking a couple bucks.
We've been collecting these for probably the last decade, and whenever there's something that we're doing in homeschool that corresponds to an Eyewitness book, I can never go wrong with this.
We just pull it off the shelf, put it in the box.
So if you look at the spread, if you want to show the spread again, what we typically do is we will read the larger text, which is the highlight of the page. So this text here, so we'll read that and then let our daughter look at the pictures while we're reading it, and she'll point out things that captions she's interested in on that page, and we'll read just those captions. So that's how we read through these books. We don't do like every page, every caption. We let her look while we're reading the overview, and then we zero in on those few areas. So this will be a spine of ours through all of the dinosaur periods. So this is going to be next 4 weeks.
It's not very long, so you're just nibbling on a couple pages at a time.
You can get these from the library too, but I'm very happy that we own some of the Eyewitness books. They were my favorites as a kid. So.
Another good one is the National Geographic Kids. My first big dinosaur book.
This is the little kids.
We call these the yellow books.
So this is the dinosaur of the week. So these ones are cool. They start with the largest dinosaurs and they move to the smallest. So this is not done by time period. This is just done by size. And these are great. If you're doing this with a first grader, I highly recommend these books because this is totally made for that level. With the information is just more basic. It's very visual and colorful, as you can see. It's not going to correspond well to time period, but what you could do is say in one of these other books, I know we're talking about this type of dinosaur. Let me look it up in the little kid's dinosaur book. Here you go. Or if you want to use this as an overview of Dinosaurs Week, I think that would be great too because it's irrespective of time period and you can give your kids a sense of all the really cool dinosaurs. So if you want to build excitement about dinosaurs and you're not, totally locked into, I only want to do Jurassic this week or whatever, this is really a great book. These books are super affordable. You can pretty much always get them on like the buy two get one sales, which makes them under $10. And I think that that's just a great deal for nonfiction books that are aimed at this early elementary stage, which there really aren't that many. Most books are aimed at, upper elementary. I mean, these other books we're talking about, they're not aimed at first grade. This is, and there are very few that are. I really like it.
One of the ways I used it in the last week or so is I'm trying to look for animals for us to do crafts or art or drawing. And so I take a piece of paper and I cut a bunch of bookmarks and I tell her to go through the book and look for dinosaurs you like that were in that time period. And on these books, they tell you right here what time period they were from. And so she could go through and put a bunch of bookmarks and say, okay, now that you've found all the Triassic dinosaurs,
she can recognize the word.
Tell me which one you want to do, and we'll draw that one, or we'll make that one, or we'll do some more research on it, or we'll find that one in all the other A to Z dino books that we have, and see if we can find it elsewhere, and maybe do a deep dive on that one dinosaur. That's how we use this one. Is really just like, okay, this is my dino Rolodex, and I gotta find a dino book. So this is a good thing to have there. I think next week we'll show my classic A to Z book that I've had for 40 years.
Not quite that.
Not close that long. Almost that long. And I think it was printed in 82 though. So it was 40 years ago.
Yeah.
It's barely holding together. Even my daughter looked at it today and she's like, Dad, this book's got pages falling out. I was like, put those pages back in. That's my book. But there's a lot of A to Z books out there. This is a good example of one really fun, easy, nibbly, find that dino that the kid likes. So definitely something you can use. Not very many Triassic. I think we'll talk about that next week, that Triassic is a very slim time period on like cool dinosaurs. all the ones we love are in the Jurassic and Cretaceous period. So cool way to find, because you gotta find those Triassic animals. This will help you with that, and nice little start.
Yep, great for the youngins.
Next thing is nice little activity book. One thing that I always like to do is to have these kind of like activity books. We did this with our Around the World journey as well, where we had like around the world, the countries and stickers and whatnot. This one is a dino focused one, and this
is one we added. This is a National Geographic Kids Dino sticker activity book.
We're just starting it, so we're only a few pages in. And basically, you're just putting stickers on, doing the activities, maybe finishing the drawing.
It's a really great filler piece.
Color in the dino. But yeah, we've only done like the first 5 or 6 pages. But this is something we would recommend having around just to fill some time, especially if you're carrying along another learner like we do with our 3-year-old. If I've got to do some like counting exercise or maybe some letter work with my daughter, my youngest, we're doing the Blossom and Root early years volume 1. I need to get my older one doing something that is kind of dino focused, and this is a great way to do that. So you take out the page, have her do the activities, can buy you 10, 15, 20 minutes so you can do something with another kid. I like these books to do that. It's a National Geographic. You can't go wrong. A lot of stickers.
It's a great book, and it's not very expensive. So we'll link all these books in the show notes, of course. But I really like this one. I'm glad that we picked it up. Our daughters always get really excited when they're stickers. Stickers are always exciting. Yeah. And activities, and this is the only real activity book we have.
30 or 40 pages. I think it's 35 pages or so, something like
40,
that. 40 pages.
There's Connect the Dots. There's mazes. There's coloring dinosaurs.
There's just a ton. It's a great way to go on the go as well.
It's just a fun, quick book. But I think it's
1,000 stickers. You can't.
I think it's really fun. Yeah, I think it was like $5.99, you guys. It was super cheap.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a good pickup.
I agree. All right, next one. Oh, say can you dinosaur?
Yes. So this is the
Seussian
it's
collection.
the Cat in the Hat Learning Library. There's a bunch of them. There's space ones and stuff. I'm not really a big Dr. Seuss fan as far as like the style of the writing and stuff. I've never been. Was not my thing as a kid. But these are really good as far as the it's done in that style, but it's all nonfiction stuff. And this is all about how to pronounce different dinosaur names. Mm-hmm. So this was really kind of a fun one for a young learner like ours, who's just turned 7, to as an overview for Dinosaur Week. It was just a fun thing to do. We have several of these. The space one's good. The human body one's good. So I thought it was really fun. Definitely get this one from your library if you want to, if you're bringing along a young learner and you want to just do some overview. This may be a week where, especially if you have a first grader you're doing this with before you start into ancient civilizations, there's enough stuff out there about dinosaurs that maybe this is the week you don't need to get into the really heady material if it's just too much for your learner. Or if you've purchased this curriculum and you only want to focus on the dinosaurs, then you can, add in these books and really round out. We could have added so many weeks to studying dinosaurs from all the books that we had and got from the library, but things like this are just fun and have good information too. So.
Berenstein Bears, The Dinosaur Dig.
This is just another fun thing. This is one of the later ones, I think, written by maybe their son.
Yeah,
this was written by the originals. Well, anyways, the Bear Country Museum, they do like everything there. They have a time machine. They dig dinosaur bones right in the backyard.
Right in the backyard. Just right
pretty
in the back.
Exciting.
Yeah.
This is just, again, fun. We use these books like this one and the Cat in the Hat Learning Library. It's just excitement type thing. So we'll read something really that's, nonfiction and more cerebral, and then we'll pull out one of these fun ones that's just a bit easier and keeps them really excited about the fact that we're learning about dinosaurs.
Absolutely.
So,
very simple.
Just fun books.
The Magic School Bus in the Time of the Dinosaurs.
This is a classic. I love the Magic School Bus, y'all. If you have the subscription, I don't know which one it is, but one of them's got the Magic School Bus episodes. I think there is the Dino episode. We don't have access to it, but we have this book. I had this book as a kid, so I just, I love it. And our daughter loves it. It's Magic School Bus. You can't go wrong. Again, great information, a good overview.
And the frizz is on the loose.
Yeah. So I think it's great. These are just some great ones to add. These aren't called out in the curriculum. They're just ones that we really like.
We then went on and did some movies.
Well, we should talk about our chapter book first.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We added a chapter book. We told you guys we're adding chapter books. So if y'all have read The Magic Treehouse, I'm sure you have. If you have young learners, the very first one is Dinosaurs Before Dark. Is it after dark? Before dark?
Before dark.
Before dark. I thought that was right. Anyways, they've come out with graphic novels. Not of all the books because there's like, I don't know, 45 books. But the first few they have graphic novels of. And so we thought this would be fun as getting this excitement about going into studying dinosaurs if we could read the graphic novel version of this. And it's really pretty easy. Our daughter was able to read snippets of it and she felt pretty excited that she could read those.
Yeah.
This was really fun. So if you have a young learner and likes visual graphic novel type stuff, definitely get this one from your library. I enjoyed it way more, I have to say, than the actual book. Because you didn't have to say, Jack said, Annie said.
Jack said, Annie said.
This one said Annie. This one said Jack. This thing said Annie. I was like,
Listen, I'm not gonna criticize Mary Pope Osborne's
well, I mean, it's not
Magic Treehouse Empire.
It's not a read aloud for me to do. That's not the purpose of those books, but my daughter can't read them yet and she loves them, so I have to read them aloud, and so I have to suffer through all the they said. So with the graphic novel, you just see who's talking, so you don't have to deal with that. And I enjoyed this way more. So really easy. You can get the first couple books from the library, but if you're looking for a chaptery type book to intro the world of dinosaurs, recommend the graphic novel of Dinosaurs Before Dark.
We then watched the movie, The Walking with Dinosaurs.
Walking with Dinosaurs is a series, I think, was like one of the recommendations from one of the curriculums, but we couldn't get access to that. So, Walking with Dinosaurs, the movie, was at the library, and it's, the animation style is not the newest, but our daughter did not care about that. And it's got a cool story about two brothers.
Anthropomorphized, mouth-moving, talking things.
Yeah, there's talking dinosaurs. The two brothers, like, fighting for control of the pack type of thing.
It ain't Land Before Time, but that was before our girls' time. That was more our time.
Right, and that was a tearjerker, and this one was not. So, it gets props for that.
The animation was really cool. It was really cool seeing.
Our daughters really liked it.
Yeah.
So
the fighting, the dominance, the herd mentality.
So yeah, it's totally a movie. It is not a documentary, which maybe the other ones are. I don't know, but our kids really enjoyed this. So if your library has Walking with Dinosaurs, the movie, we would recommend it.
Checked it out from the library.
It was cool. So
absolutely,
just something to talk about. When was this made, anyways?
A couple of years ago, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not too old. 2013. So the animation's not too old. So
absolutely,
it was nice. We liked it.
We then branched out and got ourselves some Crayola air clay.
It's funny because all the weeks, not all the weeks, but a lot of the weeks for Blossom and Root encourage you to sculpt something. And our kids have not been into that, so we've had to do paper crafts. This was one week where
Are we going to show them kid art?
Well, yeah. This was one week where there wasn't any sculpting, and our kids were like, we want to sculpt.
The question is this the head? Or is that the head? I think that's the head.
No, I think that's the tail.
No, see the mouth? See the mouth?
Oh, is it like leaning over? Oh, you're right. I think that's the head.
He has a lot of edema in his lower legs here.
Boy, there's a baby dinosaur too.
I think those are the mouths.
Okay, I think you're right now. I'm seeing it. You're
seeing the mouth?
Yeah, that works. So yes, our kids were into sculpting. This is what they wanted to do this week. So we sculpted. And
I thought my T-Rex was pretty cool, except it lost its head and its tail.
Yeah, that 3-year-old did that.
The 3-year-old did that one. But anyway, air clay, basically it's Play-Doh that if you leave out overnight, it becomes really solid.
It's not the world's best clay, but for like $5 you can get a whole tub of Crayola. And
we only used like a third of this thing.
For kids that are this young, we just thought it was fine. We'll link this in the show notes because it's, for the amount of air dry clay you get, it's a decent deal. Oh yeah, so this was fun. Yes.
Eric, come on, we can do the scene. What species is that? What species is this?
Oh, Velociraptor.
You breed Velociraptor.
You bred raptors.
You bred raptors. Yes, you did.
So yes. This is another one of Matt's, I'm making something because my kids are young and they need things. So yes, this is a popsicle stick with tape and then made this little egg and it moves up and down and it hatches and our kids have been delighted about it. So again, you don't have to follow all of the art in the book. Go with what moves you. This is what our kids were into this week, and so this is what we did. And there's some really cool art that was actually supposed to happen this week for Blossom and Root. We don't want to talk about it because it's proprietary for the curriculum, and
well, we will be doing it later.
We will still do it. We're kind of taking note of some of these things, like, oh well, this other activity our kids weren't into this week, but that's a cool idea. We might do it another week when they might be into it. So these were the ones that we came up with, and we wanted to show you because it adorable.
That's right.
So this was really great. We also watched more of our Eons videos. As always, they're awesome. And so I think that was really our week. I mean, it kind of was, it was a week and a half, but it really went by quick because we had so many books. We have tons more dinosaur books we're going to talk about in the coming weeks, but we just wanted to like chunk them up into, we didn't want to talk about 30 books all today. So we hope that this was helpful as an overview of what is a dinosaur and, you know, give you an idea of the things that we use to get our kids really excited because ultimately for me this week was a springboarding into 3 more weeks of in-depth study about dinosaurs, and that's why we use some of these books like Magic School Bus to kind of get that excitement level up.
Well,
so
this was also
they're into it.
You know, this one hit the holiday for us with Thanksgiving, and we had a little bit of before, a little bit after, and then we had a little bit of a sickness, a lot of sickness, and so like this one really got broken up and chunked up over the course of like 2 weeks or so. So it felt piecemeal, but it was a good time to do that because it was just a generalized overview before we start to jump into the actual various eras of dinosaurs. So it was a great time. It was a good overview. I think the girls had a lot of fun with this, especially now that we're talking about dinosaurs. We got really into a lot of dinosaurs this week. It was really cool. So we'll look forward to that in the next video.
Yeah, we'll go and talking about the Triassic.
Triassic. We're hitting the first one, the least of the super cool ones.
The least interesting.
The least interesting, because all the dinos kind of look the same, and they haven't gone mega sized and cool, you know. But cool, meaning like they, you know, cool. Yeah. Anyway, so we hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, leave a comment below. We hope you guys are enjoying this. I hope you guys are enjoying your prehistory journey with us.
Yeah. Take care.